Hello friends, this is Jaya for the session of digitalization. Today we are going to discuss about what is the impact of digital tool in a business model in today's situation, how it helps to grow the business in today's world, and while assessing this digitalization topic, we will be assessing a case study with it, which is dealing with a QR code. So, my first slide comprises of a scenario where there are two friends who are the business owners of tours and travel, where Bob is earning less and David is earning more. So, here we need to understand what is the reason behind why Bob is earning less and David is earning more. So Bob is using a traditional way of method in his business while it is taking more and more time to complete the requests or the complaints of the consumers, whereas David is earning more. Why? Because he's using the digital way of method. So while using the digital way of method in his business, that makes it to complete the request, complaint, queries of the customers quickly and very instantly. And that is why the consumers are really, really happy with his type of a service. Whereas Bob is struggling to complete his service and the consumers are really not happy because it is two-time consumption where Bob is not able to complete the request on time. Whereas David is doing it instantly, and that's the reason that he's earning more and more business, and his business is growing step by step. So in this scenario, you have seen there are two methods. One is traditional and second is digital. So, in my next slide, we try to understand what is the actual difference between these two methods. So, when we see the traditional method, it is more manpower is involved, the time consumption is more. It is having a very high costing, the processing is very slow, and the chances of error is very high. But when we see in a digital method, there is a less manpower is involved, less time consumption is there, the costing is very low, and it has very faster processing. Plus, it has more and more accuracy when you're running the business on an online platform. These are the points which are not available while you are doing your business in a traditional way. So my third slide comprises when we are talking about these two methods. So now we are able to understand what is a digital tool. So mainly if I talk about to define digital tool is based on four pillars. That is the technology, second is data, third is process, and the last is the organizational change. So when we talk about the technology, every business has its own technology, but it creates and as well as it modifies the existing technology to make it more and more transparent between the consumers and the business owners. Second is the data. When you are doing, when you are having a technology in the business and when you have the brand, when you have the product, so you have multiple types of data regarding your product and the brand according to the market situation. And you can compile or you can compare those data with the other brand, and you can do the analysis and understand where your brand or the product is standing in today's market situation. Third point comes the process automation. So when we are talking about the automation, this automation tries to simplify the complexity in the business module, and it also helps to get more and more transparent between the consumers and the business owner. Basically, it most transparent for the consumers. Why? Because they want an easy process whether they are serving the website or an app. Last is the organizational change. Why it has the more important tool in the business model? Why? Because whenever the consumer requires any improvisation for your product or your brand, so to make that improvisation, you have to do some of the changes in your product or your brand to make it as the consumer required. For that, you have to do some organizational changes to make that product or a brand in a such a way that what the consumer needs from your brand, you can deliver it at the way. So that is why these four pillars are the definition of a digital tool in a business model who are running on an online platform. Now we come to the importance of digitalization. I have in my mind there are 2 points when we talk about the importance of digitalization. So first is it increases efficiency. How it increases the efficiency? It increases the efficiency like when it protects all your data, all your records regarding your brand, regarding your product, each and everything which is kept online. So something can be happen, like a disaster can happen, a stolen, the records can be stolen, theft can be happen, or any loss can be happen at any point of time. So if these document or these data or these records are kept online, so these are the more secured, and it increases the efficiency in this regard, because when the records are put it online, they are secured, you can retrieve it back, you can fix the errors. But when you see on the other hand these points are not available, or traditional method doesn't have that luxury to keep these things, because whenever in a traditional way of method some of the data is being lost, so the first thing comes in the mind, you try to find out the missing page or a missing point or a missing doc, but you have to create the entire thing again to match that missing dog. But in a digital tool, you have that opportunity, you have that luxury to fix that part. So this is a one kind of importance I can say that digital tool increases the efficiency day by day as to protecting all the records. Second point is, which is the most important, I think, is the customer retention. You all think every business sector in any industry, you are all required, the consumer should come to your website or an app to do the purchase. So, how do you retain those potential customers? So, if there is only one way when the consumer comes with the query or the complaint, you should attend that customer very proactively, try to understand what is the situation or what is his complaint, and try to resolve the situation in your own hand, or you can just try to get that in a high official and try to solve that issue so that the customer should be happy. If I would be in that case, I would be also happy if my complaint or the query is being listened by the company or the representative of the company, and he is trying to solve it. So how does, what the benefit it comes from it, that you can increase your customer base, you can increase the repeat purchases, you can increase more and more customers in your business, as well as you can grow your business smoothly if you retain those potential customers. So these are the two important points which we can understand why digitalization is more important in a business growth. My second slide comprises of the examples of digitalization. Today in a digital world, if we see, there are a lot of things in a part where when we have to fill a form about any loan, a particular loan we are applying, like for a housing loan. So nowadays nobody wants to stand in a queue and wait for the service to be done. So what is the best thing they can do? They can just pull out the form online on the website, and they can just fill it and do the digital signature and give it away to the person who is concerned to that officer or to that particular department. So that makes it work easier for the consumer. He doesn't have to stand anywhere to get the form or to submit it. You can submit it online, and that makes it easy for you. And secondly, it has more faster processing. But when you give it in a traditional way of method, these docs take time to get processed. It can take 15 days, it can be 20 days. You can't say, because it is in a traditional way of method. But in a digital tool, you have that tracking, you have that this form is being in a process state. You can add all the levels, you can understand where your form is there for your loan application. So that is why the digital tool, if I say, is important for a business as well as for the domestic, because in a domestic way you can use as for the wallets, you can scan your photographs, keep it online, you can do anything when you are in domestic. But in a business life, it has more and more importance. My second slide comprises of the advantages of digitalization. When I'm talking about the advantages of digitalization, so when we covered about the methods, we covered about the definition, we covered about the importance. So the time saving, how would you describe it when you're sitting at one place and you are whatever you are purchasing or trying to take the deals for that particular brand. So you're not traveling here and there. You are just saving your time by sitting at one place, whether in your office, whether in your restaurant, whether anywhere, and you just surfing on your laptop. Second, when you save that time, you are saving that cost of traveling as well, because these points go hand in hand. Like time saving, then saving, then the digital tool always increases the accuracy, which we have discussed, by putting all the records secure and even retaining of the customers. Easy distribution is when you have to put some information about your brand, about your product, and you can do it on an online platform in a way with the social media, because nowadays social media is more active, people are more active in that platform, and you can distribute your information about your brand or product easily, because you can't do it in a traditional way of method. Then in a digital tool, all the documents, all the data, all your records are pretty much secure, because if something happens, you can still have that luxury to secure it. Last point is increase of profit, which I told about, that when you retain the customers, you have that luxury that you can increase the profit, you can increase the purchase, you can do the repeat purchases, and you'll get a good customer base. So these are the points, or you can say these are the advantages while you are using a digital tool in today's business model, because these are not available for the traditional way of method, and they don't have that luxury to have these points when they are running their business in a traditional way. So that is why I would say digital tool is far more good, far more, it has its impact, has its own importance while you're running an online business. So that is why the digital tool is really, really important, whichever industry, whichever sector you are, because digital tool plays its vital role in every walk of life, whether you are in business, whether in your personal life. And so this is all about the digitalization. So now we come to an part where I told you in the beginning that we have a case study which always deals with a QR code. And I suppose you know what is a QR code nowadays. A QR code is a most convenient tool for the consumers to use it, because you don't have to think about it, or you need not to type anything, you just have to scan it and get the things done. So that's why it has its own impact, it has its own importance, but it goes hand in hand when we are using a digital tool, and it is a part, or we can say it's a component of the digital tool. So today's my case study deals with the fashion industry and with the clothing apparels, because you all know that in a fashion industry, the clothing is the most important accessory. uh, because in a fashion it's everything. I'm not talking about only clothes, it can be bracelet, it can be jewelry, it can be anything. So when I'm talking about this fashion industry is a vast project, or we can say a vast topic to discuss about. But I have a couple of things when I was trying to understand this case study. So I'll put myself on these a particular case study. So my first point, which always comes around, what is a QR code in a fashion industry? So the first, the elaboration which comes into this mind is the QR codes in the fashion industry have been around for years. It is not that it has been developed nowadays. So it always gives a digital dimension to the brands and the leverage to the shoppers' engagement, which is more important when you are talking about a fashion industry. QR code is nothing new in it. It is always traveling for years. However, these codes weren't as pervasive as they are today. They are not very much to it, but now it has become more and more important while you are in this particular sector. QR codes today have invaded not just in a fashion industry but every other industry as well. For many years, many fashion brands have integrated these QR codes to get their overall marketing scheme to maximize that customer experience which you all require when you are in this particular industry, because customer is the main part in every sector of industry. So, when you have integrated this QR code to their fashion industry, it maximizes customer experience to their brand, increase their conversion rates when you, because it's a main about customer engagement and the brands, which is truly into the fashion industry. So these QR codes which we put on the clothes is used for fashion industry that can mostly seen in posters, you can see in magazines, you can see in clothing apparel stores, windows, and even in the online websites. So these QR codes will redirect these scanners whenever they scan this particular image, whether it is in a poster, whether it is in a social media, whether it is in an online website. When you scan it through your smartphone device, it redirects you to the landing page to the purchase of that particular cloth. So these QR codes are flexible in both online and offline. So this is the most important impact, that you can use those QR codes and an online platform as well as in the offline part. So QR codes in a clothing, why do we say it is a box office breaker in a fashion industry? So these codes are one of the cheapest, convenient, or you can say very upcoming, quirky way to reach all the consumer, and it tries to establish one by one connection. They are very versatile because you can edit, you can do if you want to put any information into that QR code. So that is why it's a box breaker, because you can put all the information about your product or about your company, whatever you are selling, even for the brand itself. So that is why we are called it versatile and can be incorporated in any of the industries. If you are doing for fashion, it can be in education, it can be retail, it can be in payment, in every way. It's these are the implementing strategy by leveraging this the right technology that can save time on the marketing plan for all the businesses. So QR codes are considered one of the latest technology development used as a tool to retain the consumer. That is why QR codes is more convenient for all the consumers, whether he or she is purchasing on anything or he is taking any forms or something. So this is a type of a digital tool, and which makes it easier for the consumers as well as for the business, because they can have a track that how many people are scanning to their brand, to their products. So my next point which comes into the mind, why QR code, how the QR code in the fashion industry uh, educate the customers. So there is one point which comes into the mind, that they can do it as a video QR code. So connecting to your customer is really now becoming easy day by day by scanning this QR code tags to the collection or the apparel. You can make those videos to give about the proper care, how you take care of your clothes while washing it. So how can you avoid an irresponsible consumption or the wastage? You can provide the entire instruction about that particular apparel by using this video QR code. You can just, the soon you create this QR code for that particular apparel, you can just convert it and into a video QR code, and that makes it convenient for the consumer, that they don't have to go here and there, but they can see that video and understand what they need to know about that particular product. So this gives the customer experience maximize while making it easier for the consumer, that he or she doesn't have to go here and there. They can just scan it and get the useful information, sustainability information about that product. So that is why it's a box maker. It can you can educate the customer about the product. Now, what is the importance when you're talking about the cloth apparel? So in hand the textile industry also come. So what is really important in the textile industry when we are talking about what is the role of QR codes in the textile industry? So QR codes are not just meant to be a valuable or a unique element in clothing. Design that info in a that it gives information to the consumer about the product. More important, this is a digital tool which help to combat the rampant of the counterfeit brands. That's the main reason the people use this QR code. By QR codes authentication, which has become a common occurrence, but this international, many international fashion brands have secured their brands through by attaching these QR codes to its label items, so that the customer can scan that QR code and verify whether this brand or the product is uh, fraud or it is a genuine. Because QR code is a digital tool, and it has this impact that it has this importance that it you can integrate in your label, clothing label, so that even the shoppers can verify the authenticity of the product. Because in the many shops, when you go to there, and you see many type of apparels, many brands, so you can't understand which brand is good, which brand is genuine, which brand is fraud. So if you're attaching that QR code in your label items, it makes it easier for the consumer to understand, to authenticate the product, that it is a genuine. So when we are talking about these points, something which comes into my mind is benefits also, why it has the benefits of the fashion industry. So first, it is very innovative, and it always open a new opportunities. So by placing QR codes on a fashion items with available links and info behind them, this opens up many opportunities for the designers as well as for the retailer peoples. QR code can be printed or a sewn or embroidered on the tags or the labels of the apparels or the brand, and it directly integrated the design to the clothes to empower, because it is a innovative way where shopper can just scan it and get all the details about that particular brand or the pattern. So in this case, when we are talking about it is a innovative, it is opens a new opportunities. So why these brand use the QR codes on fashion? So the first minimal point would be provide the customer the info about this particular item, whether it deals with the design, whether it is about the production. Second, it also shares the brand history. If the brand is having this QR code, you can embed or you can integrate this QR code with this information about the product, about the brand history. Then you can raise, even you can have that, you can put the information about the events which are going to happen. So that is the third point. Second, you can also promote the similar items with the consumer is looking at your store, and you can try to advertise them. Then you can also make it easier for the consumer to repurchase that particular item, and you can pair up the certain, like empower the customer to see how they can pair up the certain products with the other items as well. So these are the key points where you can share all the information about the product, you can share the brand history, you can create an awareness for the events which are happening for your brand and your product. You can provide you can promote the similar items which the consumer is looking. You can make it easier to repurchase the item again, and you can also empower this customer to see how they can pair up the certain products. So this is a one point where I have discussed about how it is innovative and how it is open to other opportunities. My second point comprise is because when you are talking about a fashion industry, the consumer engagement is a regular affair into that. So how can you increase that engagement with your brand and the loyalty? So in this, I can say that QR codes on a fashion items and clothes enable customer to instantly ask question or request or a new size. When you put a QR code, you can just scan it and get if you want a size, if you want a color, you can make it easier by these QR code. And even you can get the advice, you can get fashion advice itself. So if you're integrating in this QR code, you can have a greater customer engagement into that. The codes of the fashion pieces make it easier for the companies to know which item is being discussed. Means this is also an important part that you should know, you should have, which I told, the tracking part is more important in a business tool, that how many people are scanning it and how many people are discussing of that particular product, and make it and make it necessary to explain the details of that particular product. So that is why when the customer is looking to those type of products, you can make it, try to explain it through those QR code. That's why QR code is really important in fashion industry. So offering such a unique experience and always being there for a customer to promote the brand loyalty and ensure that the people trust the brand. So how do you use that? What points that comes into your mind when you have a customer engagement with this type of QR code? First, you can enable that conversation in the commerce website, whether it is an online website or whether it is an e-commerce. Connect on the social, you can connect those people in a social media, you can advise the fashion items or the upcoming collection. You can also provide the customer with the personalized experience of shopping and the style. That's all the people always want in a fashion. Okay, these points should be there, and you can get more and more engagement with the customer. And even you can able to encourage the customer to sign up your newsletter for your brand or your company. So that is why it increases more and more engagement and the brand loyalty. You have to do all these steps to make it more engagement. You can increase that engagement in that particular fashion industry through the brands. Third points which comes into my mind, how it helps in sale in a short and a long run, how this QR code helps you in that. So the QR codes are the most effective and they are used to increase the immediate long term sales. So how it has been, there are many ways to integrate QR code to achieve the high sales, and the companies have a wide range of application of doing so. So some ideas I do have to increase it, like first is to advertise about your new products by placing that QR code on item tags so that it makes it easier for the consumer to just scan it and understand what is that product about. Then you can include those discounts on those particular products which they are looking around. You can provide all the information for it. Third, you can make or you can do the promotion for complimentary goods such as matching the clothes, items, shoes. You can give a complimentary gift while they have done the purchase. Then you can also promote the seasonal collection which is upcoming. Then you can offer the items which the consumers are looking of a similar style. So and even you can give a personalized service to the consumer to gain more loyal and increase the sale. When you give a more personalized touch when the customer is purchasing something, so the customer would be really happy and it will come back again for the repeat purchases, and in this way you can increase. So these are the points you can advise about your new product. You can include the discount, you can promote your complementary goods as well, you can promote your new whatever the collection is upcoming. Then you can personalize those requests of the customer so that the customer should come back again for the repeat purchases. Then you can sell tickets for your fashion show as well, webinar, anything you can sell the tickets. So, and even you can promote the online and offline fashion consultation. Then you can enable the customer to connect with the shopping assistant as well. You can find the unique item from a limited edition and it directly comes and you are redirectly to that particular page for it. Then you can make business cards through it so that the customer should have a personal assistant and they can assist him in every way of their shopping. That's why the fashion industry is the most vast. It has more and more points to increase your sales and increase your campaigns so that you get more and more customer engagement. And why? Because people are in today's world are looking for the latest fashion, latest trends, latest clothes. So everybody is looking. It is not about the girls, it is always about the both, uh, even men and the women, where they're always looking for the latest fashions. So even if I would be in that particular type, I always be looking out because I wanted to see good. I should be looking stunning. That is the point, the whole point behind this fashion industry. So that is why these points, when we are talking about, we can and try to get through it, which is makes it easier and which always increases the customer engagement. And secondly, you can get, if the person is buying from your store or online, you can always have that feedback attached with that QR code where you are displaying all the information about your product or the apparel or the clothing accessories. You can have that feedback after the purchase. You can get what improvisation should be done on that particular cloth or a brand. So what do we understand, if I have to sum up the points for the fashion industry? That the it is a in the fashion industry, the QR codes are the real box office breakers. Secondly, you can educate the customer through your video QR code. It has the importance, it has the own importance in the textile industry, where you can understand which apparel or which clothing is genuine or it's a fraud. So that can be authenticated by this QR code. You can integrate this QR code to the labels. Benefits, if I'm talking about, it's an innovative and it opens a really good options for the business who are in this particular fashion industry. Brands can use these fashion brand can use this QR code in fashion for the providing the customer with all the information, sharing their brand history, raising the awareness for the events, and making it easier for the consumer to repurchase. Then it also increases the customer engagement and the brand uh, loyalty, which everybody needs. It also helps to increase the sales in a short and a long run, while you are trying to while integrating this QR code, you can increase those sales. You can have a track that how many people are doing and how you can have a good conversation with them. So how do we do that? It is to advertise your product. You can include the discount, you can include the complimentary things, you can promote your new collection, you can offer the personalized touch when the consumer is purchasing the item from your online and offline store. You can sell tickets to the fashion shows of yours so that it is also a greater engagement. Then you can enable a fashion advice consultation online, whether when they are scanning this QR code or if they are if they have buyed, you can provide that personal attention. And last is the business QR code, so that they can able to reach to your assistant and get some advice that the clothes which they are trying to buy, what does it look good or not, or it is worth of buying or not. So these things you can include if you are in this fashion industry. So this is all about how the QR code has its impact on the fashion industry. It has its own impact in every industry, but QR code is, it's a really convenient, it's a very important digital tool when it is required in your online business tool module, you could say. So I'm representing the UX Living Lab, where we are into this UX research for the last 20 years, and we mainly execute the qualitative and quantitative results for the clients, for the products, services, and process. We try to take the insights from the consumer to understand where the product is actually standing in today's market situation, and we try to innovate, we try to give us strategies to the client to make their product valuable in today's market world. So this is what we all do. If you have any question, if you have related any queries to our company, how it works, what are the features, what are the pricing, I can help you in that. You just have to make an appointment with us. You don't have to wait for such time that your service to be completed. You can just I'll be providing you the calendar link. You can book an appointment, and you can just meet us, and I will try to help you out in every way to understand what our company does. Thank you for the session. Hope you enjoyed this particular session. Thank you.